If you are anything like me, then you probably have a lot of devices that need charging. There's phones, tablets, computers, speakers, mice, maybe some camera batteries or microphones. The list goes on. Well, if you're struggling to manage all of your charging needs, then something like this may just be exactly what you're looking for. This is Satechi's 200-watt, 6-port USB-C charging hub. They were generous enough to send one of these over for me to take a look at, and boy, is this thing impressive. Don't worry, Satechi had no say in the contents of my review, and all of the opinions are mine. And I'll also share some other brands to consider if you're not sold on the Satechi specifically. With that, let's jump into the ports and power for this thing. This Satechi model has 6 USB-C ports, which have 3 different specs. The top 2 ports on the device have the latest Power Delivery 3.1 spec and are capable of a whopping 140-watt maximum charging speed. The remaining ports all have Power Delivery 3.0, with the middle 2 supporting 100-watt speeds and the bottom 2 capped at 20 watts. As you start plugging in multiple devices, the power capabilities will adjust to allocate the total 200 watts that this thing is capable of as a whole. For you, the user, just put your most powerful, power-hungry device at the top, like your laptop or something like that, and your least power-hungry device, like a mouse or some wireless earbuds, towards the bottom. Satechi provides a full chart in the box, I'll put a screenshot up here, that shows the exact power capabilities with different combinations of devices if you care to get in the weeds. But even with all 6 ports in use, you can still get 65 watts out of the top port, 45 watts out of the second one, and 20 watts for the rest. Overall, that's a lot of power for most people's use cases. In addition to this model, Satechi makes a 165-watt version, which is slightly cheaper and only has 4 ports. If you decide you want to pick either one of them up, there are affiliate links down in the video description that help support this channel. Also, if you need some USB-C cables to use with a device like this, Satechi makes some high-quality ones, or you can check out this video with some of my favorites. Moving on to form factor, the whole charger is made of plastic, but it is extremely solid and premium feeling. It's roughly a 4" by 4" square, and it's just over an inch thick. It weighs 620 grams, or about 1.4 pounds, which means it feels solid and hefty, but it's not crazy heavy if you needed to take it somewhere with you. You might think that this is big when you compare it to something like the Anker Nano 20-watt charger that I've talked about on this channel a lot. This thing supports 10 times the amount of power of this little thing. It's actually kind of shocking just how small Satechi was able to make this product given that amount of power that it supports. Let's do a quick flashback to the 230-watt power supply that came with the Logi dock. This thing puts that to shame. The secret to the small size is the use of gallium nitride, or simply known as GaN, which is used in place of silicon to make chargers like this one smaller and more efficient while maintaining the same level of power output. You'll see it in use with some other competing brands such as Anker and UGREEN as well, so it's not exclusive to Satechi, but it still impresses me every time I see the size that it can get with this much power. When using this product, you can either lay it on its side, where it has 4 rubber feet to help prevent sliding around and slipping, or you can use the included stand to vertically mount it upright. The stand is a nice addition, but it's not the most stable thing. There's not much to prevent it from sliding around or rocking back and forth, so it probably doesn't pass the cat knockover test, for example. Finally, there's the included power cable. It uses this 3-connection style charger thing. I don't think it's necessarily proprietary, as I've seen cords like this before, but you probably don't have extra ones of these lying around. So this included 5-foot cable is probably as far away from your wall or your outlet as you're gonna get without the use of an extension cord or a surge protector. Next, I wanted to take a moment to discuss heat management and sound. Because anytime you deal with this much power, especially in this small of a package, there's obviously going to be heat generation. At the same time, there's often some sort of audible noise with products like this. To test this, I prepared a full load test. So I attached 6 devices, 2 laptops, 2 phones, 1 speaker, and 1 pair of headphones. To begin, I took a baseline temperature before beginning any testing and found that the charger was right around 72 degrees Fahrenheit or 22 degrees Celsius, which was basically the ambient temperature in the room throughout the test. I then monitored the charger over time and noted that the hottest points on the charger increased at a rate of roughly 1 degree Fahrenheit per minute before stabilizing around the 30-minute mark, right around the mid 90 degrees Fahrenheit or about 32 degrees Celsius. Then I left it for a full hour and the temperature rose only slightly higher to just over 100 degrees Fahrenheit or about 38 degrees Celsius. These temperatures were taken at the hottest points, which tended to be around the ports and some specific areas where there's likely some hot internal components. Now, even when it was at its hottest, the average temperature of the whole device was much lower. And as a whole, it really only felt pretty warm to the touch. Nothing alarming, nothing dangerous. In addition to this heat, the charger did produce a buzzing or whining noise, which began shortly after the charging started. The sound was present pretty continuously throughout the entire time that I was testing until I stopped the charging entirely. It seems that the sound originated from whatever mechanism is used to route the current to the different ports, since the sound was loudest when all 6 ports were in use, and it was nearly silent when only 1 port was in use. At its worst, the sound was really not audible more than a couple feet away from the device, so unless you're really close to it when you're using it, it probably won't be an issue. If it does become a problem, another observation I had is that most of the sound seems to emit from the side with the Satechi logo specifically. So if it bothers you, simply changing the orientation of the device might be enough to prevent it from bothering you going forward. Now, these results were not anything that was alarming to me personally, though I would hardly call myself an expert on heat management for charging products like this. Devices like this will typically have an overheat protection, which this one does advertise, which is going to throttle back the throughput to avoid temperatures getting too high. That's likely what caused the leveling out of temperatures that I noted. I also believe that external product temperatures are totally considered to be safe at much higher levels than what I tested here. As I mentioned, this thing didn't feel more than just warm to the touch, even at the hottest temperatures that I measured. So consider this informational and by no means a concern, but also I don't have any expert knowledge that I'm sharing here. This is just my own personal tests. Now, as I review additional similar products in the future, I'm going to use these temperatures as a baseline for comparisons, so I'll be able to give better recommendations going forward. Turning to price, this 200-watt Satechi charger has an MSRP of $150. Definitely a premium price to pay for charging your devices. However, at the time of writing, you can get one of these on Amazon for just $100, which is a much more accessible price. Now, depending on your situation, a device like this may or may not make sense. If you have a lot of devices, but they need to be charged in all different places around your house or your house and the office or whatever it may be, then stocking up on some smaller individual power adapters may be the play. But if you need to charge everything at the same place, if you've got a desk or some sort of charging hub where you've got everything, this can actually become a pretty intriguing value. If you wind up buying a bunch of these smaller chargers, it's easy to get nickel and dimed over time. It also gets quite expensive when you start buying higher wattage chargers, especially if you wanted to get one that could handle 140 watts to a single device like this thing can. As an example, Apple makes a 140 watt single USB-C power adapter and they charge $100 for it. This has 2 of those, and right now you can get it for $100. I think this is a really good opportunity to do what I did, which is to take a look at all of your devices that you're charging and how you're managing them all. If you've got a lot of devices that need to be charged in one place, this might make your life a lot easier. And despite it being an expensive upfront cost, it may actually wind up saving you money, space, and outlets over the alternatives. Best of all, it really has the potential to simplify your life if you get the right set of circumstances. But is this the right one specifically? Let's do a quick competitor comparison. There's a lot of options out there when it comes to power management. However, when you're dealing with this much power, I'd recommend sticking to brands that you know because safety is a legitimate concern with unknown brands. 3 similar products out there from brands that I trust are Anker Prime, Belkin Boost Charge Pro, and the UGREEN Nexode. All 3 are 200-watt power supplies, just like this one. Anker and UGREEN maintain 6 ports, but 2 of them are USB-A. That may be a pro or a con depending on your needs. They also max out at 100 watts for the fastest ports. Belkin's model, on the other hand, gets the same 140 watt max as the Satechi, but only has 4 ports. None of the 3 come with a stand like this one does. All 3 are cheaper in terms of MSRP, but here's the current prices as of the time of writing on Amazon. Which one is right for you will depend on your needs, but the differentiators for this Satechi product is first and foremost that it has 6 USB-C ports, which is tough to find from another model. Next, it's got 2 ports capable of 140 watts, which is crazy fast if you've got a power-hungry laptop in particular. It also has the ability to lay itself down or stand up depending on your needs. And finally, it's just got an overall solid, sturdy, and premium design. The only potential deal breakers I can find are the price and the lack of any USB-A ports should you have devices that still require those. I think that this is a really solid option if you've got a lot of devices or are looking for a cleaner power management solution for your desk, for your bedside table, or for some other place. I know that I am personally going to put this to very good use in my studio here. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.